Hey there, lover of Jesus. Would you like having joy anytime you want? Today on Your Kingdom Journey, I'll share part 1 of how I learned to live in sustainable joy. These short episodes will fill you with wisdom and encouragement for the journey of your life. Welcome to Your Kingdom Journey. Maybe you're like me, someone who went to every Bible study and women's night and church event, hoping I could learn so much so that I could please the Lord and do what He expected of me. I quite often believed that doing was required to please Him, and then, of course, if He was pleased, I'd feel some kind of joy, or at least happy. Have you ever felt the same? Sure, I learned a lot. I grew in Scripture and knowledge, but joy, consistent joy, that was missing, both in my relationships with others and, sadly, even with Jesus. Eventually, I discovered how to experience real joy and then repeat it anytime I want. I found sustainable joy. In part 1 today, I will begin to unwrap this for you and share with you what I learned. And it begins with one of the key verses that I keep returning to over and over for many years. It's in Psalm 16:11, and it says, "You will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy, and at your right hand are pleasures forevermore." I love that verse, but I wondered how to be in His presence so I could experience the fullness of joy. I honestly didn't know. I'm sure you've had times that feel really good talking to Him and sharing your burdens and your worries or your testimonies, your gratefulness. But have you ever experienced His presence, and can you get there whenever you want? Answering that question became quite the journey for me. Like me, you've probably had times that felt like joy. That deep in your spirit, warm honey sensation, gooey. I love that feeling. But it didn't last very long. And because it would leave quickly, I feel like I failed in my quest to find real joy. After all, isn't it supposed to be a lifestyle? Isn't it a choice? People say, choose joy. Well, I think it will help us if we could define joy. What exactly is it? The brain scientists give it a very simple definition. It's a feeling when you're happy to be with someone. That's because joy is relational. Like when your 3-year-old granddaughter runs up and throws her arms around your legs. Grandma, it's that simple. If joy is a feeling, then it can't be a choice. I bet you experience joy when, like me, you go to church and you interact with your familiar friends, the ones who are happy to see you, the ones that light up when they see you. But is that same experience missing in your relationship with Jesus on a consistent basis? Eventually, I came to realize that all the knowledge and behavior activities I was doing earlier in my Christian life, all the left brain stuff I did to earn His approval, never actually unlocked joy with Jesus because it wasn't relational with Him. Many of us confuse joy with happy. But real joy, when it comes from relationship and out of relationship, will end in peace. Peace is the counterpart of joy. If we were flipping a coin, joy would be heads and peace would be tails. That closely connected. Knowing this might help you experience the difference between happy and joy. You can even begin to sense peace when it comes after joy. How might knowing this affect your life? I've shared this with many women who were surprised to discover that normal, healthy joy is a short-lived experience followed by peace. So look over your life. You might discover times you've experienced more joy than you realized you were. Do you know you can deliberately experience the Lord's presence and return to peace anytime you want, even in difficult circumstances? Let's face it, we all have times when everything feels chaotic, definitely not peaceful. like if a spouse is ill, or a child's addicted to drugs, or a friend betrayed you, or the impact on all of us from COVID-19. Because I've spent years pursuing the way into His presence, I finally found the fullness of joy, and believe me, the journey was worth it. Real joy is found in the presence of the Lord. He is always happy to be with you. He's always ready to enjoy your company. He loves you and enjoys you. But if real joy is found in the Lord's presence, how do we get into His presence? I've been on that quest even longer. I remember many years ago, after reading the first verse of Psalm 91, which says, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." And I just loved the promises of that psalm. But I cried out to the Lord, and I sometimes still do, "Lord, how do I get into the secret place with you? Show me the way." Have you prayed that too? I tried to get someone to teach me or show me the way. I'm embarrassed to say I really had no clue. I can't tell you the number of years I spent crying out because no one could give me a practical way to get into the Lord's presence. I needed to know how. That, of course, made me feel like a failure. So what did I do? I filled more of my time with those God-approved activities since I wasn't really sure I was experiencing Him beyond anything other than an occasional tingle. And so the cycle continued. Is this resonating with you? When I finally found the way into His presence, I was actually shocked to discover how easy it is. And I'm here to tell you there is joy in His presence and treasures forevermore. It's worth every effort to discover Him there. I will continue this journey to find joy together in our next few episodes. But in the meantime, will you read Psalm 16 and Psalm 91? When you do, ask Jesus this question: what will it be like to be in His presence and experience joy? What will it look like for you, and what will it look like for Him? Write down those answers, and if you're willing to share them in our comments, I would love to hear from you. Thanks for listening. Please join me for episode 2 as we continue to unlock the way to finding joy in your kingdom journey.